Okay, so whether you have a library of 50 or 100 or 1,000 papers, there's going to be some ways you go through screening, and especially for systematic reviews, but I think increasingly for narrative reviews even, you might want to use formal inclusion and exclusion criteria. That could include characteristics of the population of the study, about the geographic focus of the study, or about any other number of things. These are ways to effectively come up with filters. You want to filter out, say, 50, 75% of your papers that don't focus on this particular problem, let's say. So, question is how to do it. There's a couple different ways to screen papers and to deal with inclusion exclusion criteria. We have a dedicated actually screening page I can show you, but a really innovative, interesting way is to do it right here in the library table. So I've added my papers. I just have 42 in this one. I've added them from search, AI search, import citation files, Zotero, etc. And then what I can do is use what's called custom enrichments to actually generate and run across my table inclusion exclusion criteria. Spoiler alert, I'll jump to my specified, I'll type in the inclusion exclusion criteria, and then I'll add include and exclude options for both. I want to call out one thing, as I like to, about the agent, and that's just how much you can do with this agent. So in this case, this is a field we built for an grant team, basically, and I don't know much about it, so I actually used the agent to, for the purpose of this demo, come up with a custom enrichment field. I was given some options, and then I just want to reiterate again, if you're trying to do the same and you're trying to understand the characteristics of your library, just a really simple example was getting, studies that mention injury. That's a particular way to study this subject, whether it's through an injury or not. So that was one of the suggestions. How many of the abstracts mention injury? 28 to 30 of 42. So there's just so much you can use this chat for, understanding that, this agent. Every time you come back to it, whenever you open it up, it always has the context of your library. So I'm going to go ahead and leverage that suggestion and show you, I'm jumping into enrichments. Per usual, we have 65 different options for enrichment fields. I'm going to create my own, and that is, I'm just going to put, it's kind of a very simple one, but injury mention. And the criteria is only include studies whose abstracts specifically mention injury, exclude those that do not. And I was told, this would be a good example. And so crucially, most are going to start on this any, and any just means that it generates kind of a summary. It generates a descriptive response that has kind of variable lengths. It's not categorical. So you can do that. You can select specified, or you can select yes, no, maybe, i.e. true, false. I went through a video in this playlist where specified was used to use chat to generate categories, 3 to 5, and then you use specified to plug those in, and that's an auto tagging system. In this case, of course, I'm going to use include, and let me drag this up a little bit so you can see it. Oh, I guess scroll down, and unsure. And so let's make sure this looks good. You want to spend a little bit of time maybe through the agent crafting the prompt. In this case, I'm just using a really simple one, but let's go ahead and run this enrichment, and as we can see, that enrichment starts to run. The green means we've got our models actually working on analyzing the abstracts, findings, key metadata from these articles, and as we can see, these start to pop up. Now, what you might find is some unsures, and there's a really simple reason for that. Unsures are, these models are looking at what data is available to them, and in some cases, those are abstracts. In other cases, those are full text articles. So working off of the data we've got. And usually you end up with some unsures. But I guess in this case, apologies, the criteria is a little different. Does it mention injury or not? That's really what we're after. If, by the way, you want to test this out, a really good way to test it out is, and we've done this many times before, actually got an idea from one of our users, which is first you could manually do it, or you could download your library and plug it into, say, Claude and try to get the same types of results, repeated results. So nonetheless, these are the responses we get. Of course, the benefit of this, we're constantly updating these models, making sure they're accurate. The benefit is you can then filter for include, exclude. You can delete the excluded. You can batch check off some of these and prioritize them or tag them or assign them, etc. There's so many different things you can do with chat, custom enrichments, sort and filter, priority tagging, etc. And then the very last thing I'll mention again is within tools, we do have a screening page. So if I was to build my library, maybe I'll pick screening, maybe I'll pick annotations. Within screening, we effectively have, title and abstract screening. And you can put in tags and you can save and click next. So that's kind of your basic systematic review like screening. So you have that option, or you have the option to do it all in the library table.